fans, we're overreacting when our team are losing or struggling, things like that. We're not putting into account that these guys have been out for 4 months. Hello everyone, this is Raquel with So Beautiful Me Sports Takes. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if this is not your first time. If this is your first time, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, as well as share, of course, if you like my content. Anyway, so today we're going to get into today's video, which is going to be what you already know by the title. Mainly, it's going to be about the first week of the NBA being officially back. Officially back meaning they're doing the 8 games that they're going to be playing off for the seeding, which will lead up to the playoffs. That starts August 17th or 18th. I could be wrong. Anyways, with that being said, they have started. The teams came back. I'm going to be updating about that. I'm also going to give you guys a little bit of an update about the Major League Baseball, as well as the NFL and then the WNBA. So I want to speak on the WNBA first because the WNBA is actually having their season coinciding with the NBA season because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I feel like it's very difficult for them right now with ratings. They already struggle with ratings and people watching their games and supporting them. But right now, because the NBA is actually airing their games at the exact same time, and you're getting NBA games almost daily simply because they're doing the seeding and then they were doing the scrimmages and then they have to get the playoffs started, you're going to get a lot of NBA basketball. But the WNBA is playing, so please don't forget to actually support the women, because this is very important for young ladies and women in America who wants to play, professional basketball. As well as, unfortunately, Sabrina, the #1 pick overall in the draft, she was hurt early in her second game, I believe. So, prayers up to her. I hope she heals and gets well very quickly. And just a sad situation, but moving on. So, Major League Baseball, there has been some postponements. There's been some things that's happening. A lot of teams are still playing. A lot of games are happening. But again, I already kind of explained that in the last video that there's no crowds and things like that. But there are still players that are being tested and positive for COVID. So there's been a lot of postponements. You know how you can't say something? I can't say it. Anyways, with that, so I don't know how this is all going to work out or play out in the end, but for right now, unfortunately, even the Yankees Baltimore game was postponed today. With that being said, the NFL. The NFL is really probably not going to end up being able to start, simply because they have too many cases of COVID. There's been teams that have already opted out, and there's been several players who have opted out. They can't be in a bubble. A lot of these other actual leagues, like baseball, they're not in a bubble as well. And even football, it's hard to get all of them in a bubble like the NBA. So it's unfortunate that they're probably not going to be able to get this season going until we get some type of vaccine or the virus under control more, because too many players are being positive and too much is going on where people are taking more safety than they want to get back. But they are still moving forward. I just don't see it really happening with, actual teams opting out. But we'll see. Now to some basketball. So the NBA has actually started the season. As I said, they started the 8 game seeding games that's going to get us up to the playoffs. Basically going to give the teams that were like in the 9th or 10th spot the chance to see if they would actually get that 8th spot in the playoffs and things of that nature, as well as the top teams clinching their spots. Lakers were able to clinch their #1 seed in the West. Milwaukee Bucks are the #1 seed in the East. Now, with the COVID and with the actual bubble, there's really not a home court advantage, but there is, in the sense that the team that has the home court, as I mentioned in my previous video, they get to do and control the crowd noise. So Lakers are being incorporated booing. My team is petty, like me. They also can cheer, which, I mean, if it helps the players, it helps the players. I don't think it does. I feel like some players feed off of the energy of the actual presence of fans, so I think it does affect them. But overall, I still love what the NBA is trying to implement and do. So there is a home court advantage where you are playing on your court, your home court, so you might feel a little bit more comfortable and you get to see the displaying of your team, your logos and different things like that. And I feel like it probably gives somewhat of a little bit of a hype, maybe. Who knows? But anyways, I'm going to dive into what happened kind of the first weekend of play of the official games. So the NBA officially had their season start. And when I say that, it's their season that's going to determine like who will be in the playoffs, the 8 teams from the East as well as the 8 teams from the West. And that's the seeding games have officially started. Started back on Thursday, and it was a weekend of basketball. It was very interesting to me because you've seen a lot of things that I already described in my last video, so you please go watch that because it's giving you details about the games and things of that nature. But what I noticed with the officiating so far in the bubble and with the NBA return is they are really doing it too close to me. Like, people are really upset because officials are just calling fouls nonstop or calling technical fouls or just nitpicking, it seems like, and they're just not allowing these players to be players and grown men to play the ball. Like, they've actually called fouls or technicals when they're cussing and stuff. I get it. They're not used to this environment as themselves because a lot of the times you have a lot of crowd noise, you have a lot of things that's draining or drowning out a lot of things that the players are saying and doing, so you can't hear all the little things. But at the same time, these are grown men. You shouldn't be calling technicals when they cuss. Like, come on now. Really? Where are they doing that at? In the bubble. But a lot of the things that's happening is like they're slowing down the games. They're kind of like making the games go at their pace. I feel like they're controlling too much. So NBA, please get your officials together. We want to see these players play. We don't want the games to just go on and go on and go on forever. And then on top of that, it's just like teams are shooting like 30, 40 shots of free throws a night. Like, what? Stop. Let them play. And I feel like I get it. Analysts are saying that it's because, these players are rusty. The officials are not really calling it close. It's just that the players are rusty and the players are not. No. These players are rusty, but like some of this is just nitpicking. Like, you hear things, I get it now. And I want the games to be called fair, but I want them to be called fair where it's just not constant nitpicking. Like, let's go. So that's been one of the things a lot of the fans have noticed, but hopefully they'll get that together by the time the playoffs start. The refs will stop being so whistle happy because I guess they've been on vacation and they just couldn't wait to get back to just be calling some shit because that's what they're doing. The players seem to be like adjusting pretty well. I can only say that right now, as far as like my team, the Lakers, I'm like mixed feelings. We are not in a good place where I feel like we're shooting the ball well, but I feel like that's rust. I feel like that's why it's good that we got the scrimmage games, and that's where we're getting these 8 games to kind of prepare us in preparation for the playoffs. Also, we have 3 new players that Frank Vogel is trying to incorporate into the lineup. It's been a little bit rocky, to say the least. There has been some upsets and things like that. It's made it interesting. I was all bragging up a storm when yesterday the Bucks lost, the Clippers lost, and then also the Celtics lost. No offense, Jay. No offense. But we know good and well that those are our like biggest rivalries. So hey, when they lose, Laker fans happy. Then we turn around and lose today. Why you do that? Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I feel like the teams right now are still kind of adjusting to being back into the full swing of play. So I feel like even though it's like fans, we're overreacting when our team are losing or struggling, things like that, we're not putting into account that these guys have been off for 4 months. They're still trying to get used to getting back into the swing of things. They will be okay. Like, I still think the top teams that were top prior to going on the break are the teams to be more or less looking out for. I think there are some surprises right now. Unfortunately, the Memphis are not playing so well. And then you do see a surge of the Blazers playing a little bit better, as well as the Rockets and even OKC. On the East, I feel like the team that's making an impact is the Brooklyn Nets. Kind of counted them out, but they're balling. I think they beat the Bucks, even though the Bucks didn't have some of their starters in the most of the game. They beat them. To me, a win is a win. We're not playing technicalities. It is what it is. Your team got beat, so did mine. So right now, we're just basically getting a lot of NBA basketball. I'm loving every minute of it. I've missed the NBA. I've missed sports. I miss sports in general. So I'm like, I'll take games every night. I think some of it is wearing on the players because they are playing like every other day, either in back-to-back games. And you can see the fatigue when teams are playing, because one day they're out a little bit more energetic, the next day they're a little bit more like flat and, lacking that energy that they would need. They're not getting a lot of time off. They're also having to take ice baths to heal their body quicker. You see all of these things that they're having to do, because I'm still watching a lot of the things that they're going on in the bubble. They're not posting, players are not posting as much, just like they wouldn't do when they're getting close to the playoffs. They're more focused on the games, more focused on the wins. They're not really focused on giving us social media stuff. Some players are posting, but most are not. And that's understandable. But I feel like this is kind of wearing on their body a lot more than they probably anticipated, simply because they weren't doing, they weren't playing ball in intense level for 4 months, and now they're playing ball intensely, and then they're doing it, like I said, back-to-back nights, or every other night, they're playing. So it's definitely affecting teams. But I feel like this is why they're getting in that condition. So when the actual, playoffs start, hopefully people are ready, players are ready, because it's been up and down, just to be completely honest. Anyways, that is my quick little update about what's happening with the first week. There's been some surprises, some interesting things. We had TJ Warner. He's been balling. He had like a 50-point game. Then he had like a 32-point game. And the boy's balling. I ain't heard of him until now. But he's a baller. You do unfortunately have a player that got hurt, and that was Isaac. Prayers up to him. I really hope that he heals. Like, bad injury. It was unfortunate. And then in today's game, Ben Simmons also had some knee injury. So hopefully his is not bad. They're saying it's not as severe. So hopefully he'll return and it'll help the Sixers, because the Sixers will need it. They'll be out in the second round, but hey. Joking. With that being said, how do you guys feel about the first week? Like, have you guys watched any actual ball? Have you guys been enjoying it? Have you guys been, engulfed in it like me, or if you guys are just like not feeling it? I have seen some fans complain, but for the most part, I don't think most fans even notice about the crowding, because some of the teams are using the crowd noise, and for the most part, it seems like the NBA did a very good job with just all of this. So if you're complaining, you're just a complainer. Let's just keep it real.